Have you purchased a rental item that is just collecting dust
We made that same mistake.
and spent $10,000 on items that's not even leaving the warehouse?
Want to learn how you can prevent wasteful inventory spending?
Stay tuned as we discuss how to choose items that your clients will be interested in and sell out. Let's get this money. So this is something that me and Eddie's been doing from the very beginning. Really just doing market research. I know most of you guys probably heard about it, don't really understand the whole concept. We're gonna kind of go over what this actually is and then how the basics that we do it. So me and Eddie, I forgot when we started. Remember one time we just started putting random stuff on the site? Was it the trash can thing?
Yeah, I think it was trash cans and.
No, but what was the debate on the trash can? Remember that?
Well, I'm the one that said we should rent trash cans.
Yeah, I know, but what was the debate on it? You remember that?
Like nobody wants no trash can.
Yeah, who said what?
I don't remember, but somebody said something.
It was only me and you. So who else could it be?
Somebody said something. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was you. You're like,
I think it was me. It was only me and you.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you.
No,
But-
there was only me and
But
you.
sometimes I don't remember who was on which side, and sometimes I know that the conversation was definitely there.
Let's say.
But yeah, we were like, who wants to rent a trash can? And those things start going like hotcakes. And now we have, I don't know how many trash cans, like pallets full of trash cans.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, because we started out renting trash cans, and we put the liners in there, and then we, which is the trash bags, if you guys don't know, because I know he was talking about it first. We talking liners, like no one says that, but so whatever. So, but that's kind of something that we started out with. The biggest thing we kind of did was I would say like there's a couple different ways that you can kind of go through, which we'll discuss a little later. But the biggest thing is that you just want to make sure that your customers actually want what you're trying to sell, or the market can hold it. Generally, this would be through demand of something that they're asking for, or you putting something out there and then you're getting the feedback and demand for it. But when you do this, you don't want to just look at anything, because when you conduct market research, one way that we kind of go through the whole process of it is that like we want to actually make sure that this item is going to go out, and that's the whole reason of the whole thing, is to get it from there. And then you really want to be building on like what stuff you already have, and there's a different couple of ways. You have some things that create new orders, some things that get added to new orders. So like, let me give you an example. Like a trash can, no one. Actually, I don't know if we had any actually, so might say this right here actually. No one's not gonna just come there and just buy one trash can for you. So trash cans are something that add on to orders. But someone might come to you and rent some white chairs, might rent this, they might rent a tent. And those are your items that create new orders. Then you have items that come on the back that actually build the orders out. So when you're conducting your market research, and you actually like, because I know, like I said before, most people, because even us, we didn't use this term at first. We just like, basically like, do people want the stuff or not? Like, can we make our money back in 3 to 4 rentals on the extra stuff that wasn't the core items?
Yeah.
What do you say like when your first kind of experiences, when we first started off, when we were testing this stuff off?
Well, I just tested the waters and see if it was actually something that people wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the first thing you did was market research.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Okay.
I'm not just gonna look at this,
Yeah.
just buy something and say, all right, this is what's gonna happen. But yeah, I did a little bit of market research, and then also I just kind of looked around and saw that a lot of people were just renting tables and chairs. So I was like, let me go ahead and jump in that. But then at the same time, I was like, well, I can get the little bounce house in there too, and kind of take the whole kind of pie per se.
You were a bounce house pot guy.
Yeah, I was a bounce house guy, so I was like, let me get there. And then I saw that kind of a need for tents, because people were asking for tents. I was like, well, shoot, let me go ahead and get into tents too. And then later on down the game, we all know that I kind of backed away from the bounce house game, but yeah, that's how I started off.
Okay. Yeah. So so when you first started, did you like where did you test that at? Like where did you test the stuff out at?
Well, I just set out at Marketplace. I kind of saw like everybody's posts. I got kind of do the general like cost of like what it would be like if I did the business, and like I basically mapped out and said, okay, if I have this much inventory, how much can I make in a week? And then I finally pulled the trigger because it just made sense to me.
Yeah. So how much could you make in that first week?
The first week?
Yeah.
The first week I think it was like $1,500.
$15.
Yeah. Which right now is like
That's a lot.
But
though.
at the time, yeah, it was great. But I think
That gets you $75 a year.
yeah, because originally when
more.
I first started off, I had like I don't know $10,000. So I got the trailer, the tables, the chairs, and the bounce houses, and then with the profits, and that's when I had the tent, because people just kept asking like, I want a tent. I was like, well, I'm tired of letting this money slide out of my hands. So
Yeah, then you have the 2 for 1.
Yeah,
One
right.
for two. One for two. What is it? What's it called?
Yeah.
The buy one get two
Buy
free.
one, no,
Buy one get one free.
Yeah, buy one get one
The
free.
BOGOs.
And then I was looking at you, and I was like, "Come on, hurry up, load this up before they find out."
They said like what? Because you remember when we were there?
I was like confused.
I thought we had videos of this. I don't know, but I don't know. We probably don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's back in the days.
I
But
think
remember,
we did have video.
Remember we walked up there, and then like you were going through the tents and stuff, and then I start counting the poses. I'm like, damn man, it's
way more poles.
Hey, this is like 30-something poles right here. Like what's going on?
I see 2 tent tops.
Yeah. So that thing was crazy.
And I was talking to the lady, distracting her, talking about her pink pallet jack. I was like, all right, this thing's nice.
Yeah. You know what Lily's saying right now? She probably like, see, he always talking to somebody.
Hey, she's not complaining when I get them free meals. That's
Oh,
fine.
got that right. Got that right. Let's get back to what you call it. But yeah, so like, just remember that you need to do this. This should be the first thing you do. Like if you're doing anything else, I don't want you going out and buying no stuff right now. I want you just sit down and do some simple, basic, just market research. Like what's going on in your market? What's renting? Like what's even, like what are people even selling? What are the prices? Like where can you even get the stuff from? Like before you even go buy some stuff, go buy a domain, LLC, a bank account, do anything, pass go, talk to your mom about this, like go do some market research so you can be able to see exactly what's going on. Now, the next question you're probably asking is how, but we're going to get to that right after Tina hits us with this interesting fact.
All right, so companies that frequently conduct market research are significantly more likely to report an increase in revenue over the last 12 months, which is about 76%, than those who infrequently conduct market research.
Yeah, because you don't want to be going in like the 3 blind mice and just going and just trying to figure out where stuff is.
Yeah.
I think as we are in business longer, I think it takes us, which from first we were kind of like snappy, really into stuff. I think now we take a lot more time before we jump into stuff, just because we want to make sure when we jump in, we can run with it. And I've seen that a lot more, even like when doing this as well. This has been a process that we've been working on for about over a year and some change. Not the podcast. The podcast has been about 2 years, but like 2 years on and off, But like the actual process of getting to this point where we even would do this. And I think as you get further along, especially when you have something to lose, you start doing more market research. Now the problem is that like there is a point where you can kind of do too much market research and psych yourself out of it. And I see that happening, a lot to people. We see people on the different group chats, not group chats, what do you call it, the Facebook groups? And it's always like every week is someone talking about something like, I'm done with this, no more bounce houses. And then
Yeah, all the times like, oh man, this is horrible. Or the market's saturated and so and so's doing it down the street for $100 and it comes with tables and chairs and all this stuff. But one thing that I did see, like some people were like, well shoot, rent that thing and then like sub-rent it from them and then have them do all the work and you add an extra $100. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's like everything. Like we do that on some different. We do it on porta bodies. We do that. We have done that on stages. We've done that on pipe and drape. So like if someone is most likely the person who's charging the least, usually is the person who needs the money the most and usually has the least amount of inventory. And also too, it's a short-term strategy and usually you can't afford to spend any money on marketing, so no one really knows about you because you don't have any margins to spend any money on anything like that. So, and one thing I have seen that we are part of the industry. We know more than the customer knows, and more companies the customer knows. The customer usually doesn't know about that person on Facebook who might show up or not, the coin toss person. And if you're that person on Facebook, then that's a great opportunity if you show up every single time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who don't, or eventually they just drop out because realistically they have nothing to lose. And we've seen people where they'll reach back out and they'll be like, hey, can I still rent that one thing? I was like, I thought you said you found a better price. We don't say that to them, but
But it goes in your head, like you think it, you're like,
why don't you do that? And then there's like, well, that person is going to give you, 2 tents, 100 chairs, 12 tables, for $100. And then like, so it's
I
like
never showed up.
yeah, and then for us, we're usually like, well, if you can get that price perfect, just send us the people's information so we can work with them too.
Oh, yeah.
And we can maximize their inventory and get everything out of them. We're just going to rent their stuff for the whole year at those prices and just have them go and do our drop off. Usually they're doing free delivery too.
Yeah.
Might as well go on and help them fill their pockets up. But it's something you don't really have to worry too much about. Specifically, because we see people always say saturate, and the way you actually figure out where you can actually distinguish yourself in the market is really based off of doing the market research. But we're about to get in the next section into exactly what you're supposed to do. But before we go into the methods, we're going to be talking about the ultimate checklist.
The ultimate checklist is here.
So Eddie, let us know about the ultimate checklist.
Ultimate checklist. It's bad boy. It's jam-packed full of information. And the best part of it, it's totally free. Me and Xavier spent a lot of man hours in this bad boy, so check it out. It's got a lot of good information for your business, whether you've already started or you're just starting off. Check out the ultimate checklist.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're about to hit the methods. There are 3 methods that me and Eddie use and we recommend for you. The first one is going to be check with your competitor. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The second one is going to be test and buy, and the third one is going to be customer feedback and demand. So we're going to start off with the competitor, and this is probably how I would say everyone started. You started. I started the same way.
Yeah.
Just look at other people in the industry and just see what's the basic items they're kind of doing.
Yeah.
And for most of us, that'll be chairs, tables, linens. If you're in that basic general one, if you're in the bounce houses, you go look at what the bounce houses are, and you'll start with like a 10 by 10, 15 by 15. You'll start one of those two, and you'll start with their kind of one that the generic one that goes out pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you choose your category. But like in the part of rental space, there are like so many categories you can go off of. You can get into AV, and you can basically run a huge business through that and don't have to worry about anything. And that can be from just like the production of AV, of the events and stuff. You can do straight up just lights in that section. You can do just sound. Some people would do just all the camera work and set everything up. You can do it for there. But you can do pipe and drape, which, to be honest, if you run this right here, it'll be trade booth shows, and you'll be doing, what you call those things that they put the backdrop things?
What's that?
The backdrops for the on the pipe and drapes that they do when they take photos at.
The backdrop.
Yeah, backdrops. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm losing myself.
I was like, what is it?
Yeah.
I was like, backdrop?
So the backdrop things. Yeah, so you can do that, but you just choose a category, and then from there, just find people in there. So usually the best things to search online would be whatever your category is in rentals. So that just check those out from there. But let's get into these methods. So let's start with the competitor. So what's the first thing we do with the competitor?
I mean, I think everything, you just look around like your competitors. Like if you're going to go, you can Google and see what your competitors have. You'll see all the main players nearby, what they have to offer. If they have that, basically the same kind of items, we'll just say 4 of them, then most likely that item is very popular and that area, uses that item. For instance, like tables, chairs, or we'll just say, like, I don't know, a certain bounce house, maybe like a wet one, maybe go out more. Because I know like in Florida, they have more warmer weather, so certain items are going to work better in that area versus, over here or even up north, like in Chicago or whatnot. So kind of check out your competitors, see what they're renting out the most, and then just make an educated decision based off of that.
Yeah, so basically the steps that he just put together. 1, use Google. So search on Google. Then the next thing that you're going to do is that there will be a list of all these sites. At the very top, there will be a list of ads. If you're a respectable person, do not that respectable. If you're respectable,
go ahead and click it.
If you do not click those things,
twice,
scroll down underneath it because people are paying money for those to the actual organic section or to the maps. And then click on one of those. And then it'll pop up, and it'll just be whatever the items are. And usually the first items you see are preferably going to be, or the first categories you see, whatever the items of each category they have will be their best items they have, or the item that rents out the most. And then just copy the basic ones. So usually the basic ones be the plastic folding chairs, the poly chairs, garden chairs, and then for tents it'll be from 10 to 20. 10 by 10s, 15 by 15, 20 by 20s in whatever sections. Bounce houses, 10, 15, and then private order slide. And you can work your kind of thing from there, and you can see the prices and be able to see how it works on there. Now, don't be too hard on the prices on there. That's something where you might start at, but that's not where you're going to end at for that. So let's go to the second one. The second one is actually the one that I like the most.
My favorite.
Is your favorite? Yeah. This right here where you just take a whole bunch of stuff that you like and think people might rent out and just put it on your website, and then you just get quotes from it. You don't actually run any extra ads for it. This really works well when you're doing stuff that are not, I would say, orders that create ads. Not create ads. Orders that create, items that create orders.
Yeah.
But more for items, stuff that add on to orders. So this can be your trash cans. This can be literally almost anything. I think about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you can just run those from there, and you don't have to run any extra ads for it, and you'll just see that you'll get more quotes and stuff specifically with those. We recently have done this with yard games. And that has been working pretty well. You see that the stuff adding up. I wish we would have, I wish we would have personally worked on it a little bit earlier, like during what do you call the season, graduation. We'd have did even more if we had as much if we had before. But that's just some that we worked on. So that's pretty straightforward. What's your favorite part about this?
Well, my favorite part about that is like there's no, you're not gonna make any kind of mistakes there. You kind of see like instant results as far as like what the people, your market actually want. You put something on there and nobody wants, and it's like an easy way to say, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't buy that, and it's just gonna collect dust, kind of like what we said in the introduction. You don't want to have products on the shelf and just collecting dust. It's not going out. So you can, whatever's in your mind, you can put anything you want on there, and then the results will kind of speak for itself. If the clients are like, hey, I like that, or I want it. And then if you have enough, people demanding that, you're gonna buy it, obviously. But I just like it just because like, whatever you think, you can just throw it on there, and there's no consequences unless you can't get it fast enough, and maybe you lose a couple jobs. But there's literally no consequences. You have all to gain just by using that method. Yeah,
and I think what we've seen too, when you first start out, you can possibly get the item rented out for a further date, and then before you even pay for it, buy it, you can have the whole item rented out to make all your money back. That's generally what you can do. Because I know, because like when I first started, my biggest thing was that I took orders out that was further than the date that I wanted to start, so I can try to get some of the items paid for, and I can get confirmation. And once you get to a certain point, to pull the trigger. But usually it happens all of a sudden. Like we did the yard games. We just had people just start putting yard games on stuff. People come back in through and say, hey, I know you guys had yard games. Let me add, 2 of these on here, or do this, add this on there. Yeah. And it's been working out. And then you'll figure out exactly what's the best way to do it. I think eventually we'll probably bring some of the yard games that we can actually make, besides like the Connect 4, because that look complicated. But
we'll make one. No, it's fine.
But maybe besides that one, but we'll probably bring most of the other ones in-house, and we'll do our own branding with it in the future. But right now, we're just going to test with what we have, and it's been working a lot. So this right here, I think someone put up a comment. I don't know exactly when, but they put up a comment on there, and they asked, should they go ahead and buy the items, or should they just go through this process? This basically answer your question on there. Yeah. Just test whatever you want to test. You'll get stuff for it. If you want to take this one level deeper, you can actually run ads specifically for it. But most times we've seen you don't technically have to do that. But if an item does not get anything on there, it doesn't mean that no one would do it. It just might mean it might just not be a add-on that you're trying to put on there. So that's just something you might need to look into for that, because it might be something that needs to be marketed to completely different than how you're doing everything else. So don't throw the baby out in the bathwater. Just know that it doesn't work with the clients you do have unless you market for it. So you have 2 kind of steps to go from there that you can kind of get through the whole point. But we do it on a regular basis. We have tons of items that we might not have right now that we're testing on a rolling basis. But usually we put something up, people like it, and then it kind of runs, because we just have so many different people coming from different things and adding together. I think the one thing that really kind of rolling right now that we don't have, or we don't technically have a plan to get right now, is barricades and things. We've seen a lot of stuff come down from there. But you can take this to the next level like we do now with the porta potties. Oh, yeah. Because we probably rented, I think it's like 15, 16 now. Not like just porta potty, but 15, 16 orders of different porta potties or restroom trailers or whatever it is. And like, I don't have no restroom trailer. He don't have no restroom trailer. Tina doesn't have no restaurant trips that I know of.
You go.
You know. So like, but it just works, and we just do like a 30% markup on top of it, and we just don't do any discounts associated with that, just because we don't have anything to discount because we don't do any stuff. So that's kind of works, and then also that confirms the stuff, especially in something like that where like, because what's the building blocks of that? You need the truck to actually take the stuff out. But really, actually, to be honest, once you get the truck, you can take it straight to the waste yard and just dump it from there.
Yeah, realistically, I mean, we have a truck that we're not really using, so we can convert that thing into basically what they do. It's just regular pickup truck.
Yeah.
They literally load it up there, they roll it to the end, have like a little lift gate and goes down.
Yeah.
And have a dolly lift it over, then they just drop it.
That's the suction thing. They clean the sewage thing.
What's the thing?
The thing that when they suck them out of the thing.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Nothing difficult.
It's just a pump, and then you have to have whatever the graded material is for it. It's like we'll put a photo up on the trucks what it looks like so you guys can see. But like there's actually spots when you go over there. I did some research on it because when I was thinking about us possibly getting into it more, you just go to the to the waste plant, and they just pump it, and it's just by the gallon, and it's not even that much either. You just pump it straight through. I don't know if, which I'm guessing you would have a pump anyway, or I guess the output it. It's one of the two. So I don't know if they sucking it or you pushing it out, whatever.
I'm pretty sure you're pushing it out. So basically, like on just like an RV. You know how on the RV they have like this.
Never had an RV before.
You never had an RV?
I heard you can rent them though.
Yeah, you can rent them too. But there's like a tube that you connect to, like when you go to the dump. You just
the dump.
Yeah, the dump, whatever the gray water or whatever it's called, the bad stuff that you don't want to touch. So basically, you put like a little hose and you put it in the hole, and then you just open it up, and then it drains everything.
Okay. Do you remember that? And actually, we do have video for this. Do you remember that one job that when it was COVID, when everything stopped down? Me and Eddie, we were starting doing junk removal. So we went to go cut up a RV unit that was in an abandoned parking lot, and there was like, what was that, like heroin, other stuff in there,
methamphetamine. Yeah, there was a rooster in there. And there's all sorts of stuff.
And then I remember you opened the thing. You said, "Don't open that." And then I think what Julius said over there, it might be filled with this stuff.
Oh man, that thing stunk.
That would have been crazy. Now let's get to the next one. Okay, so now we went through the competitors. Check what your competitors have. Look over everything. Next thing is test and buy. Put it up there. If someone wants to go through it and you have enough demand, go ahead and buy it. The last one is going to be the one that's going to drive specifically your business. Once you start actually generating clients and getting more customers, you're going to actually get the feedback from the customer. Customer tell you, hey, do you have 100 clear in black Chivari chairs that look like cross bags, but not somehow? They're going to start saying crazy stuff to you. And then you'll start figuring out which stuff you want to get. Or it'll be like stuff you maybe never thought about. Maybe it'll be like, hey, do you have 40 coolers that we can use for a festival? It'll be like that. Or they'll be like, hey, do you have any, like, we're trying to rent a camera. You can find your way in different stuff based on your market and based on what you want to go through. So that's kind of the last one, and that's kind of the ones that you kind of will end at. Because we have a document that has all the missed opportunities. So this is everything that we don't have, either because of quantity or because we just don't sell it. And we usually look through this as we go through and put stuff on the sites and stuff. We recently got some kids' picnic tables. So you see that it's like a little kids' picnic table. I think it's like 2 on each side or something like that. It's just, I don't know, it's a picnic table. But it's actually neat because it actually folds completely flat. You can stack on top of each other, and it works out. And they have adult ones too that we're going to use at some festivals next year. That works out. You got any other ones?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. About the 3 that we use.
The 3 amigos.
3 amigos, yeah. Those are pretty much the methods that we use. But like I said, my favorite one is the second one because I just like to put it out there. But that one and the third one's pretty good too because the customer's going to tell you exactly what they want or the missed opportunities, and then you can decide whether to get it or not.
Yeah.
All right, so the statistic that I have for you guys for this segment is the average survey response rate across all survey channels is actually 33%.
That's one thing that I would say, have not done that much of, and I was thinking about this one time, like having like a kind of like a all customers hands on deck kind of like these are like the items that we're trying to do, or even I guess
You mean like a mass email, kind of send everybody like, hey, this, and then get like their opinion on what we should buy, like kind of like a toll. I mean, not toll. Is it toll?
yeah,
Poll.
a poll.
I'm sorry, I'm saying toll.
I was like, you trying to charge somebody?
No, poll. There you go.
Yeah, but because I know some of the software sites like Force, Mojo, what it's called. They have a system where you can go, if you have any ideas, you can put the ideas in there, and then people can vote the ideas up, and then the top voted ideas they add it to there. Now, some of the ones it takes longer is because it's like, it's stuff that is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, I want a camera, this right here for $40.
Oh my god.
Like,
Payroll, like, I love that one.
I love that one. They just bid it up. But just for the actual items and stuff, I think that's something that we'll probably maybe look into in the future and do a couple different options like that. But let's get into Zenbusiness. So as I said before you start your business and everything, make sure you do your market research. Now, once you've done that market research and you went through this whole video, now it's time to set up your LLC so you can be legally and set up correctly the right way. Now, Zenbusiness offers a lot of whole suites of stuff that you can do. And I even seen Mark Cuban on here once. So, you want to be like Mark, get you with your Zenbusiness and stuff like that. So make sure you check it out. It helps out the channel. Just a link down below. It is an affiliate link. So we do appreciate you if you're starting your business and you need a place to start it for. Get your LLC. I think they do it in about all 50 states. But thank you guys and help us out. Let's get this money. So now that you put all these different methods together, now we have to see like which one should you actually choose. So we're gonna do a couple examples. So if you go out here and you should have already put all your basics up there, your white poly chairs or whatever area you're trying to go, just do the basics across the board. Now you need to be looking into exactly like what, now we have all this data and stuff like that. Now what are we gonna do? So what's a couple things that you see when you're like, oh, we should buy this? Like what's a couple things that like are like certain? Like if you see these things, like we need to buy this.
I think one thing that we do every week that we're seeing a repeat of missed opportunities, eventually we pull the trigger because we just say, well, we're missing so much dollars. So if it's something like really obvious like that your customers are demanding it, if you're already running your business. But if you're just starting off, even if you do the second thing that we said to do, which is just, put it out there and see if you get any kind of a response on that item. If you get enough of demand, I mean, it's time to buy the item.
Yeah, what's enough though? What's enough to you?
Well, I think it depends on the item as well, because like we know that each item when it rents out, it's gonna give you a certain percentage back on your actual investment. So if we're having
farm tables, is it a farm
let's
table?
say farm tables, okay. With that, I think we get about what's that, 5 rentals or 4 rentals or something like that. It's like 25-ish percentage. We get back on each rental. So, if we're getting demand every week and they're requesting multiple tables, which they usually do, then we pretty much pull the trigger on that, because we know that, especially in the fall, because I think that's when they go out the most, when people here in Texas anyways, fall weddings, it's like a main thing. It's like the staple of, like that country kind of feel vibe. So I think originally we had built our own, and then we saw this.
The best investment that we've ever done. That item has gotten, they're not here no more, but it literally got us to the point where we can do where we are now with the farm table. I'm trying to say.
What we need to do is I looked up on the rack and I saw one left, so we should probably frame it or take a picture and show people what it looks like.
We should do that actually.
Yeah, but yeah, so just like that, if it's something that makes sense, then just pull the trigger and go with it. Now, if no one's asking for it, you buy it because you're like, I have a feeling. Sometimes your feelings aren't very good. The numbers make sense.
What's the time frame? What's the time frame? You say? Let's say you get 2 requests, and like you get 2 requests for it, and in what time frame does that make sense? And 2 requests in a week, 2 requests in 2 years.
I mean,
like 20 requests in 3 years.
It depends on the item and the cost too. Let's say we're talking about like $10, and like you don't have much to lose. But if the item's like $500, and and you're gonna jump the gun in the first week, and also it depends on the demand too. Like if they want it right then and that week, then we might pass on that. But if it's something that far enough out, you can. You want to take the risk and jump on it that first week, you could do that, but then you have to weigh the benefit of doing that versus waiting and see if you get more demand than just that first week. So, me personally, I would wait. You know, if you're planning to be in business for a long time, try not to rush in things, because we both know when you rush in things, and that's when you have like issues, and then you learn these hard lessons. So if you can wait, you know, maybe 2 to 3 weeks and see if you can get even more demand, then that's great. But if those 2 requests in that first week would come close to what you would pay for the item, then it just makes sense, because you're that much closer to get your money back.
Yeah, and also too, look at the other items that are on there, and if the person's like, well, I don't want to rent, like if I don't rent this too, then I'm not renting anything with you. So that's a big thing. Because I know for us too, like some of the items where like these are like the cornerstones of the items, like of all the whole order, we'll get it just because you know if it's a $4,000 order and we have to buy something for $500, we'll probably get that one specifically just because it'll make, if we can sell the item, because our profit will be just more than that, and then we'll have the item too. But we try to really kind of center it around like something that we actually like, that we can use, and worst we'll just discount the item, just have it rent out cheaply for that. But like it just depends on the situation. But I would say, just could we get some quick math so you can understand? If you get 4 people or four requests for this item in a week to 2 week span, so 14 days, then go in and pull the trigger, or go in and sell one for the future, and then you can pull the trigger later on. But you know what I'm saying? Going and trying to get that. That's kind of the general idea.
Yeah.
Now, if it's something like special, like something like very specific, and like you're doing like the dance floor with the LED lights on it and like all this stuff right here, like
It's a little bit harder to appeal to specialty kind of customers going to want that.
yeah.
Because I know the price tag on that thing is going to be high, and only a certain amount of people are going to want that.
Yeah, 4 rentals might only cover 10%. And as the bigger the rental items get, and especially the ones that can last a lot longer, or supposed to be, like I said, like a restroom trailer, you're not going to pay 10% each rental for a restroom trailer.
No.
You might be paying like 5 or 2% of the actual item.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into, what you call it. But also too, you have to understand, does your item, like let's say the farm tables have a little bit of service into them, because you have to carry, what was it? I think our farm table was like 70, 80, 100 pounds. The ones that we created with thick 2x4s that go across it and stuff.
Yeah, you can jump on those and dance on them. They're nice and sturdy.
Yeah, you did the moonwalk, everything, whole party up there.
Yep.
Yeah, the weakest part
You can
was
slam somebody on it, it won't break.
Yeah, this is not one of them WWE ones.
Oh yeah.
It was like Rey Mysterio.
Your back will break, but that table's not gonna break.
Yeah, that table's not gonna break. The first legs we put on that one time, which I have
the
photos
little
of.
skinny one that they missed the leg day.
Yeah, it's like the ones from that. Even that one movie you probably seen a lot lately since the girls, the Beauty and the Beast one, and they had they have the little legs on the little things like that, and they crawl across. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So so you want to kind of do that, but generally, if you're in between a 10% to 25% return on your rentals, then that's kind of the general point. Like I would say from 6 to 4, then you can pull the trigger in like a, let's say 14, maybe 30-day period. If you're in if you're maybe on something that is a little bit higher than that, then you can go from 4 to 2, like a 25 to 50. If you're doing something that has service with it, then you can technically, when they do it, you can just buy it.
Or like even like the linen stuff. When people say, "I want this linen," yep, we have it. Because they literally pay for it and some, because they're paying for the service that goes into it. So stuff like that's an easy. Yeah, if a customer asks for it, you don't have it, just order it online.
Yeah, and the linens, like Eddie said, the service portion is big. The services actually work more than the actual linens of getting them ironed. So like you might, so that's when your process is going place. If it costs you $5 to wash iron this linen, then that usually might get you 4 to 3 times on top of the service price of that part, plus the linen cost, and you can kind of go and get that. So for linens, it's pretty like really, really just open. The only linen that is not, like we have some stuff that is kind of not open, which are like the sequin, because those, like to get really good ones, those are like $70 up to $100. And that's not even like the ones that drop down to the floor. Yeah. And so like those are a little bit more special. But usually with linens, we kind of just go with it, the whole flow of it. But those can get damaged, so you can't wash those. You have to, I think you have to hand wash those, hand dry those.
Wash them, yeah.
Or you get flakes everywhere. So some of the stuff you don't look into. But now when you get to the 10 to 5%, then you need to be seeing demand on like multiple people asking for it. Like if it's 10% of it, so especially if it's a lower cost item, then you need to be looking at that a lot. So like if you're looking at like which 10 to 5% is usually your basic items, like your tents, your tables, your chairs, all that stuff like that. So usually nothing there, but sometimes you have another set which is at 5 to 2, which would be like people come ask for a restroom trailer. Like the first time somebody asks for a restroom trailer, don't go out and spend $40,000. Like I think that's the cost. It's like a site or something.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
You're right.
Yeah, it's around there, like maybe 30, 40.
Yeah. I guess it depends what
the
size
nice one, the big ones that have like two men's and women's, and then you go in there and have like 2 stalls and AC and all that stuff.
Yeah, a water fountain.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean like a real like full on a water fountain. A water fountain. You have one of those. You have a guy in there with towels.
Oh yeah,
that comes with it.
Comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
A little robot.
A little robot too. Yeah, so you get into those stuff, and that's right. You don't want to do that straight from there, but those work too. But you're not the first time that someone does that, or like because people are going to see going to ask you for a lot of things. We've had basically someone ask us almost. I'm not saying everything, but like majority of stuff you can possibly imagine, someone has asked us for, to do or whatever. We have people still now ask us to cut their grass when we get there, but it just works.
Yeah.
But so that's general stuff. So generally, most of your big assets, this is stuff you should be able to rent out every single week, and it's going to keep its value. Usually those items are from $10,000 to $40,000, $50,000. Will be between that 5 to 2% range every time it comes out, and then those would be the ones that technically still make a lot of money, but you don't have to you want to have to do a lot of service or stuff really with it, and it'll be kind of hands off and like dropping the trailers and stuff off. That's kind of like when you get into those type of things, because usually you'll run those for 2-4 years or so, and then you'll sell it for half the cost, and you make all that money, and then buy a new one with the extra proceeds. That's kind of like the general flow that you go with that. That works out.
So most companies spend between 5 to 20% of their annual revenue on market research.
5 to 10%.
5 to 20%.
Yeah. So I can tell you right now, that is not going to be in this market on our stuff. You spend 5 to 10, 20%, you're probably not going to have. That might be like.
Might as well buy the items with that money.
Yeah, you might as well buy the items with that money. But it's interesting, and that's the thing I like about this industry. You don't need to spend as much money to be able to get the same results back. But because like 10 to 25%, depending on how big you are, that might be your whole profit margin, or or whatever.
I hope not.
Or whatever it is. If it's 25%, if you were 25% and you were running at $150 million, that's expensive. Okay. I'm saying that might be like somebody's stuff like that. And also too, a lot of other places, for us, we get a lot of feedback. And one thing you realize in this industry, like it was no short of feedback. You know exactly where you stand with the customer. Like there is no if then or like, oh, they didn't tell me. Mm-hmm. Like they tell us all the times. Like they might not tell you in your face, but they will call back up. Like we had an incident with Kobe. The lady said it was, everything's perfect, everything's good, and then the lady later that day was like, what happened? What's the story kind of?
No, so the lady later on that day was like complaining, and then Kobe's like, well, she told me everything was great, and I asked her at that time because what happened was basically we moved the pickup date 1 day later, so they said, can we pick it up tomorrow? And the customer said, yeah, no problem. And Kobe's the one that did the whole interaction and everything, and then. Even when Kobe went to pick it up, he's like, oh, everything's great. Thank you. And then later on, what we do is we do like a double back and we check with the customers. Hey, how was your event? Their event was great, but y'all inconvenienced me. Like, what? And then he's like, okay, tell me more. And then she's like, yeah, so y'all called and said you didn't have anybody to pick it up. We're like, we didn't say that. Like, okay. And then they were like, yeah. And then now I have to be inconvenienced and move my whole schedule because of y'all. So y'all didn't stick to what you originally said y'all were gonna do. So I was like, okay. And then Kobe's argument was like, well, if the lady really had an issue, why didn't she tell me instead of saying, yeah, everything's okay? And so I was like, well, I think y'all both are right in a sense, but obviously we're gonna. Lean more towards the customer.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's difficult because you're going to see a lot of times customers won't argue with you right there. I'm not saying there are some that will.
And Kobe's a little intimidating.
Yeah, or Kobe is intimidating.
He's on there like,
let's put a photo
okay.
of Kobe.
Like, yes, everything's great.
Wait, that's not Kobe. Put a real photo of Kobe. But let's put a photo of Kobe. Yeah, but that happens, and I think we've seen that the most. I've actually seen it even when sometimes you tell them that you can even tell them you're the owner. Sometimes they won't even argue with you right there. They'll be what you call it. And then they'll call back in. They were like, and they'll be like, this person did this person did this. But then when you leave there, they'll be like, everything's perfect. Thank you. And then I don't know. It's just how it works. This is part of the game.
He's used to it.
Yeah. It's just customer support and stuff like that. People are gonna have issues with certain things. And your thing is just to get it right the first time. Yeah. And then the one rule that Kobe messed up on that we learned is that he didn't record the conversation, and he didn't send a text or email that could be followed up with it that has them confirming it so that it can be double confirmed. Because then it comes to a he said she said stuff, and then anytime you're in a situation like that, you will always lose. It's just how it works. Just because in the day, I'm not saying the customer has more power than you. I'm just trying to say that like. We need the customers, and obviously they need us to do certain things too. But people will look at obviously you as a huge business, and you're taking advantage of customers. When realistically, most times I've seen in business, customers are taking advantage of you, not the opposite way around. It's rarely. I mean, you have to be a pretty big size company to be able to do that. And I hope to get there, but that's gonna take some time on there. So this next thing we're going to talk about is kind of like the identifying marketing trends and stuff like that, or the market trends. So this is, I think this is, and this could be because we took it off. You tell me if I'm right on this right here. I remember at one point in time, the silver Shibari chair were a little bit more popular than the gold Shibari chairs, but it seemed like that has completely shifted to straight gold.
Yeah,
like we almost get like, even if we put them up there, when we had them up there, people don't even look at it.
Yeah, that's true. I think the trends kind of change from year to year. Like for instance, like not too long ago, I'm pretty sure people that probably listen to this, like the phone parties and stuff like that. That was like really big whenever it was like first came out. And then
I love them phone parties.
Now it's kind of like simmered down. I see a lot of people selling that stuff, or even kind of sort of. But when it was something like the white bounce houses, like they were really like everyone's like white bounce house, white bounce house. And then I see a couple, but most of the people are like regretting getting into the thing. But yeah, certain trends like they really pop and everyone jumps on board, and then it kind of like basically slows down.
Yeah, I feel like the white bounce houses, you have to literally like you have to completely charge a lot more and just have certain settings. But I see some ones that people have some really nice ones. I think the hype has died down about them, but I have seen a couple businesses that are still kicking pretty good. But it's only like the ones who like truly, which they had white bounces before the white bounce houses were cool. Yeah. So, but a lot of people I see who are kind of like getting into the trend and stuff have gotten kind of like thrust to the side. Have you seen that one video, which we have to put up the video or the photo of, is like you can rent a blow up nightclub?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool, actually.
I just be scared everything might blow away.
Yeah, you in the middle, like that.
The light's getting good, and then it's so hot. I'm just thinking it's gonna be so hot in there. Everybody, creating body heat, and you got like 100
maybe
people.
Maybe they got an AC in there. Maybe they
like rave and stuff.
Maybe they got 4 blowers to the side, and it's pushing through the back of it, and it creates an AC unit. On one of them is an AC unit, but the boat.
Everything I've seen is like a little ball in the middle, and then like lights everywhere, and then it looks like a rave to me.
It looks cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but I'm just thinking.
What do you think be happening in those parties?
Man, I don't know, but it looks fun, but I don't know.
How big are those?
You just like pray nobody has a knife or anything in there because that thing's about to go down.
How big do you think those things are?
Oh, they're pretty big. They're like, I've seen them huge. I've even like looked at some that like are paintball fields, kind of like indoor paintball fields. They can blow up with multiple blowers. So those things can get huge. I mean, they can be like 60 by like 120. They're big.
Dang.
And they run off multiple blowers.
How big do those come? Those must come in like a whole truck or something.
Man, I don't know.
Rolling that thing out must be like
maybe there's like in sections, but them things are huge.
And then it's just like attached together,
yeah,
like
exactly.
zip together or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like a certain section.
Oh, that's cool.
Then each blower blows up each section.
Yeah. Since if it's that kind of like grade, do you think you could just stake it down like with a regular stake?
Man, I don't know. I'm not even trying to invest in that and find out. Yeah. Like, where do you stake this thing?
Well, I'm saying like if they had it and they had like just the regular tent things.
Yeah.
And like the actual things where the hooks and stuff, and if it's good material.
Yeah. Well, my thing is it's like a wall. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing we know about with like a tent, once you put like tent walls on it, like it's more what was it called? Creates more surface area for the wind to blow against it. So I'm pretty sure it's good, but I think it just has to have ideal weather conditions. You know?
Yeah. If you have one of these, put a thing down, comment for me and Eddie can go down there.
And party in
Yeah,
there.
we can check it out and see what's going on. Who knows? Maybe we can get somebody with a wind tunnel, put it in there, and see how long it lasts. Not
Wind tunnel.
Not yours specifically, but like a
yours.
model of one, and something like, you know, the small wind tunnels you can kind of scale it down. I don't know. We can kind of see something. Who knows? Probably not. Yeah. But if you have one of these nightclub bounce houses, let us know. Tina, would you go to a party at one of these nightclub bounce houses?
I've never gone to a nightclub, period. So yeah, I'll try it out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a video of us taking Tina to the bounce house nightclub, and then she gonna be on that one video. I don't know if you guys seen that one video we had that we posted, the short where the people are holding the tent. It's gonna be Tina gonna be on there.
Just let it go.
Yeah. But if you guys know anything about it, let us know. We would love to understand more. You know, obviously that's not something that we personally have done, but we've seen, you know, bounce houses that have nets through them get pushed over and blown up in the air. So we would imagine that. But who knows? Maybe if it's not cloudy or not windy, then it's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of different trends out there. I know one person said that throne chairs were a trend, where they were. I think you just want to market them right, because I don't think our throne chairs have went down at all, really. Like, I mean, I think we have like a slight dip. But nothing too crazy. Yeah. And if you're trying to look for like an easy way to kind of go through the process and find out if what you're gonna buy is kind of trendy or not trendy, you can just go to Google Trends and just type in your stuff, and it'll tell you the search volume from everything based on the highest volume of it.
I actually remember the comment. So it was someone from New York. They said that throne chairs weren't really a trend anymore in New York, and that it's just gone down.
Yeah. I think it's, but then I looked it up over there and I seen people still renting them. So, I mean, you'll see different trends pop up. The biggest thing, you got to just test the trend, see what works. Just because something is trendy doesn't mean that you shouldn't get it. But you can do that, but kind of stick to your basics. One thing I've seen with a lot of people who do lounge rentals, which is an area that we're really, really interested into, I really like. It's a lot of different stuff, you know, just with the couches, getting everything to settle, just a whole different type of vibe and experience. Maybe something that you guys get to see as we'll dive into that in one of these years and build something out like that. I like that because you have to kind of think about what's going to not just be good today, what's going to look good in the future. And then the lifespans of those items are usually only 2 years or so, from what I've seen and heard from different podcasts or different people who kind of do this stuff. We like those. I just wonder about like those all white ones. Like, how do you keep those white?
I just think it's the same thing. Just like, you know, use certain cleaners that creates like a barrier on because like we know blue jeans and stuff like that rub off on those white items, or use a good magic eraser and get it off immediately.
Yeah, or I was thinking
a plastic thing.
What if they did the plastic thing that you talked about?
You could,
like in your throne chairs too, on your seat area, which when we get some new ones, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a little plastic thing and build it around it so that it kind of keeps those there. At least the seat area, like you don't have to be everywhere, but just the main part of the seat area, just kind of like get that stapled in or however we plan to do it. But I think that'll work out for that. No. But let's get into the rental rundown.
All right, so the first question that I have for you guys is, what were some unexpected insights you gained from conducting market research?
Yeah, I think trash cans was the first one, coolers. People rent stenching cords. People rent the 3-way adapters.
Yeah.
What was some of yours?
I think that was it. Just like I think that's why I like rentals, because like people rent everything. They even rent individuals. You know, when you think about it.
Eddie for rent.
Yeah, right. But yeah, they rent everything. I mean, like you said, 3-way plugs, and you're like, well, I could just go to the store and get it. Yeah, but most of the people like convenience, so like you bring everything. Then they love that stuff. Yeah, TVs. Just like a whole array of different things that I would think like, why would anybody rent? I didn't even know people rented tables, like not tables, but like plates and spoons and knives and all that. But like,
it makes sense now, because who really has 200 or 300 plates?
Yeah,
who's sane?
Yeah.
That shit's-
Yeah, but like in the beginning when I first started, I had no idea that people ran all this stuff.
And that's actually me and Eddie's first business that we kind of got together was the plates and stuff. We started with like 300 basic forks. We'll show a photo of some of these forks and stuff, but like, yeah. But this is really basic.
They were basic,
Yeah.
really basic.
We did a couple jobs, and that was like the only issue that someone had was specifically was that the forks was a little bit plain. But they like the plates, they like the cups and stuff, and everything. And a quick little win right there, you can get a lot of the cups from the Dollar Tree. You can not rent them, but you can buy them offline, and they work pretty well. And even like when I see other people's stuff, it's pretty much they're really around the same kind of quality around there for the most point. But Tina, what do you think is the interesting thing that we rent?
Well, I was surprised that we rented out coolers. I always thought, like, who would even rent out a cooler? Like, why not just go to the store and buy it? Like, because it's like, what, $20 or something?
Oh,
at
no.
Not
Walmart?
ours. Those
No,
were like
no.
$70.
No, that was 100.
They are?
The big ones, the white ones were 100 at first.
Not anymore.
Oh, if I say, but $7.99 then.
Yeah, they're like $69.99 or something
Yeah,
like that.
$79 I think. No, then
I'm pretty sure they're $69.99. I got
we'll,
the hookup.
we'll put it up here to see who's.
With the
But
wheels.
yeah, but think about this right here. You can go buy that, or you can get actually a really good one that's actually sizable. And then I think the biggest thing that we've noticed is not just the cost of the rental, is the space that it takes up. Because if you start to buy this stuff, it's just like eat through people's garages. And I know you've seen someone's garages, like, why you got all this stuff in here? And then because like we used to clean out garages, and if I knew we should have kept so much stuff that we cleaned up in the garages and stuff. People just because they just you accumulate this stuff and you don't use it because you buy it one time and then you never have another event outside or
Even like the pop-up tents. Like anybody can go to get a pop-up tent, but they rather rent it.
yeah. And just because it's just then it's gone, it's off of the stuff. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be that person pop up tent going down the street in the middle of the night. But it just works for that stuff.
The second question that I have for you guys is, how has market research contributed to the growth and expansion of your business?
I think I don't want to say everything, but like every single product on there on our site had some type of. I guess everything I've sold, besides the original chairs and tables, have been through some effort of market research.
Yeah. Hey, even like the whole decision of like focusing our spending on specific items. For instance, I think it's this Friday we have Snicker, not Snickers.
Snicker come. I'm trying.
I always say Snicker. I mean Sneaker.
Yeah.
Because I always say, hey, Snicker Con. They're like, a Snicker.
Yeah.
So how do you
People gonna start moving.
yeah, just like that. Like like they wanted 500 tables, or
1,000
600
tables.
or whatever, and certain requests, and then we just see the profitability of sealing the deal every year. They come back to us, and then we also have other events that are big that require a large amount of tables, stuff like that. We've just decided that we're going to put our efforts into that because those are easy wins and they come every year. Then on top of that, whenever the demand's high, like we'll just say for Thanksgiving or stuff like that, where a lot of people demand a large numbers of tables and chairs, now we're able to provide the quantities that they demand because we've invested on certain things from our market research. You know what I mean? So and then even like the same thing with like the tents and stuff like that we're kind of pushing more towards. All this is coming from the market research that me and Xavier have done. And it's really influenced the whole aspect of our inventory and like our crew sizes and how they work, the number of hours that our business runs on, and then just overall like the whole operation. So it's contributed a lot to it.
But we want to say thank you guys so much for watching us. Make sure you go ahead and get the ultimate checklist. The link's down in the description and is the first comment. Please get it. It's free. I think a new version just came out not so long ago, so you'll see that. So that's pretty good. But thank you guys. I'm Xavier Kelly.
I'm Eddie Sauceda.
And we'll see you in the next one. And make sure you click those links down below and watch one of these videos that pop up.